established by our ED, small letter ED, our events directors, and the sponsors as well, who have supported ZIDA in putting this event together. I do have a presentation that I was going to share with you. I get a lot of questions about what's different in Zimbabwe, or what's different. One of the things that is different is what you're seeing today. The dialogue, the engagement, the reaching out, genuinely. And as a private sector person, because I'm from the private sector, but what I have seen is the people we call government officials, for all intents and purposes, are colleagues. That's what I've seen now, because it's about getting to work. What can we do? And ZIDA is there. You've heard all opportunities, they sit in the provinces. That's where the opportunity, there is no opportunity in Zimbabwe which is in the air. Whatever opportunity you want to pursue sits in the provinces. The role of ZIDA is to facilitate investment into the provinces, as you have heard today. And I think ZIDA, in their wisdom, have started with showing us, and the ministers have done a fantastic job. And I think you can see the healthy competition that is there. And that's what it's about, because we want to attract investment, we want to bring investment, and the ministers are competing in a healthy way. And I trust you in the diaspora. Lapo vela kona, I don't know what role you are playing back home in the province where you come from. Because as you can see, the ministers are really gung-ho and going for it. So I'm just going to share a little bit from my presentation here. I'm not going to read what I have necessarily, but go through a presentation perhaps that can help and answer some of the questions that have been asked a little bit earlier. So I'm going to talk about insights on Zimbabwe's investment landscape and future growth sectors as we see them. This is an institutional presentation. It doesn't represent my personal views necessarily, but this is from the institution. I start with this slide. The first slide that I want to share with you is statistics of inward remittances into Zimbabwe. I don't know whether from where you are you can see, but this is up to half year in our monetary policy review. The inward remittances, diaspora remittances, $997 million. That's at half year, 6 months. So you annualize that, that's $2 billion. Now, I need to tell you that in the year 2000, Zimbabwe's total exports were $2 billion. But now, diaspora remittances alone. So people are asking, what's happening in Zimbabwe? And there are all sorts of narratives about what's happening in Zimbabwe, what's going on. Everybody's got an opinion. But if you are a finance person like myself, you'll watch the numbers. You'll watch the figures. The figures are showing that we are 5x in terms of money coming into Zimbabwe. We are 5x what we were in 2000. That's times 5. That's what the numbers are showing. And we always ask the question on diaspora remittances to say, if 2 billion is coming in, this is formal through what's known as MTAs, or money transfer agencies. And I saw quite a few exhibiting outside there. We ask ourselves the question, how much is coming on aeroplanes or on the bus from South Africa? And akunopa mining 1,000 pounds e. We always ask, as in our economist groups, let's estimate. So if it's 2 billion official through MTAs and banks, what is the unofficial amount? We say it's at least, it's another, thank you, Honorable Minister, it's at least twice, at least as a minimum. It could be more. But as we rebuild confidence in our financial services sector, that number obviously is becoming more and more formal as you are seeing it. But it's a very important statistic. Our question, another question that we are asking is, a lot of this inward remittance is consumptive. It's going into consumption. A lot of it is also going into property. If you see, people will look and say, and I have friends from outside, friends from different places. They'll come and say, no, but when we come to Zimbabwe, what we see and what we read is very different. How come there is construction and things are going up, people are building? A lot of that is from these diaspora remittances. So not all of it is going into groceries. Some of it is going into houses, into homes. You go to Mat South. I went to a rural area somewhere during Simon Moyo's funeral. May his soul rest in peace. And we went down to a place in Plumtree there. I come from Mat South, but we went down into the sticks there where I'd never been. But what I saw in terms of what they are putting up, double-story buildings. This is diaspora. That was diaspora. And because I asked the person who was driving, who's putting up a double-story? In Mat South, deep in the rural areas there. That's what people are doing. A lot of that, dear friends, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, is diaspora funds coming into Zimbabwe. And I think you need to give yourselves a round of applause. I will move on now. This presentation will be available, so allow me to move a little faster here. This is just highlighting some of the opportunities that you've heard, that Zimbabwe is a highly diversified economy. Outside South Africa, Zimbabwe still remains a diverse economy. Manufacturing, all the sectors, all key sectors. We have large mineral deposits. I think the provincial minister has mentioned the Great Dike many times over. They have to share it because it runs throughout the whole country. So at least we have to share the Great Dike. And you mine what you can mine where you are. So, but second largest platinum deposits, 33 million hectares of arable land, agriculture and mining contributing 30% to the country's GDP, still ranked in the top 10 African countries in terms of investment opportunities in the next 2-3 years. By the way, in terms of Africa Continental Free Trade Area, Zimbabwe outside of South Africa is top in terms of taking advantage. This is according to a World Bank study. In taking advantage of Africa Free Continental Trade Area. We've got the most in terms of arsenal, opportunity, geographic location. We could really be the kings of Africa Free Continental Trade Area. Well-developed road and rail network. There's still some work there because a lot of these mineral resources shouldn't be on road, they should be on rail. And so there's initiatives underway to rebuild our rail infrastructure. Energy has been spoken about, and I will talk a little bit about that. The investment landscape, ladies and gentlemen, incentives. We have incentives for various sectors. Some of these incentives are at a national level, but the provinces and the town councils, rural district councils are structuring their own incentives. As you've seen, the competition here is now a competition for FDI to be as attractive as possible. We still, as Zimbabwe, a regional hub, our geographic advantage, where we are located, I think, again, it was mentioned that we are a gateway to the rest of SADC or the SADC North, and Zimbabwe still remains a gateway. Bite Bridge, for example, when people want to get to the DRC, they're coming through Bite Bridge, coming through Beira. So these ports of entry are still a major opportunity for Zimbabwe in terms of assembly industries and the like. Vast mineral resources, we've mentioned that. Our skills and skilled workforce still is very dynamic, very rich, still supplying the NHS, but we're still there and still training, retraining, and rebuilding in terms of skills and capacity. Strong air and road access. I mean, I don't know, I'm sure you know because you're in the diaspora and you're always looking for flights back home. But when I told people that the Ethiopian Airlines flies directly into Bulawayo now, not twice a week, 6 times a week. So all these places are becoming international in terms of connecting with Zimbabwe and also into the falls. You have Ethiopian, you have Emirates, you have Qatar, all flying into there. Now, you know that you cannot keep flying a plane to a destination where you're making losses. So it means there's money happening there, there's profitability on those routes, of course, supported by yourselves as our diaspora and our 11th province, as I heard today. Favorable climatic conditions. We have good climate for most of the crops as an agricultural growing and an agricultural based economy. As well as mineral. Those are the two key sectors. Even in terms of the 12 billion that we bring in annually, it comes from two sectors primarily, the mining sector and the agricultural sector. But we have tourism, we have manufacturing as well. Next. Talk a little bit about the role of ZIDA and our mandate. Our mandate is investment promotion, to promote investment into Zimbabwe, foreign direct investment, as well as mobilize. And our team, our executive team, our CEO is Mr. Tafazwa Chinamo, very passionate about local investment as well, and diaspora investment as well. And so whenever there's an opportunity to reach out, and thank you, Colonel Katsande, for roping in ZIDA. Every time you have a meeting, I know you are one ambassador who makes sure that ZIDA is there. Investment facilitation, to facilitate investment. Once an investor is in Zimbabwe, ZIDA is there to facilitate that investment into the country. And I'll talk a little bit more about that investment facilitation and some of the statistics that we have. There are some experiences that are old. So some of you have tried things in the past. As the call from the ministers has been made already, I want to make the call as well. Please don't go by experiences of 10 years ago. You need to try today. Before you share maybe an experience that's a little bit in need of updating or upgrade. Investment promotion, ZIDA, we are friends of the investor. So we're involved in investor advocacy within functional line government. So if you've got a problem with getting electricity to a factory that you've established, to a mine, as ZIDA, what we do is do the legwork for you to connect you to the Minister of Energy. Minister of Energy, we've got this investor. They are really challenged by this particular aspect of establishing their investment. But if a problem comes, we also pick it up and make sure that investments that are made are protected. The key sectors have already been highlighted, but I will just highlight them again there for effect. I've mentioned our domestic investment. We have large corporates that are already operating in Zimbabwe, and a lot of them, the top 3 companies in Zimbabwe, Zimplats, I don't know whose province that one is in. I'll need to check it out. Thank you. I know my Chombo. You are there, Honorable Chombo, you are there. So, Zimplats, Old Mutual, Iriko Kwese, I think Kuma provinces, Old Mutual, those 3, and Econet, those 3 companies invested alone a total of about $500 million into Zimbabwe last year, 2023. That's more than the recorded FDI of 342. We're talking monetary FDI, money flowing into the country. So domestic, I just say this to highlight the importance of domestic investment. The people that are already there are investing, they are reinvesting into Zimbabwe, and you can check the stats. Foreign direct investment, diaspora remittances, changing those diaspora remittances from consumptive type diaspora remittances to more investment type. And somebody mentioned the reason why we in the diaspora, Amashandu, you mentioned, the reason is information. The information simply isn't there, and we shared a few things. So that changing diaspora investment or diaspora inward remittances more towards investment takes outreach, information, such as we are doing. But I will also encourage you to visit websites, because a lot of what we're sharing there is on our websites. And let's visit the provinces, ZIDA itself, and we've got links to each other now, so you can go around there and see what we have. Mining, infrastructure development, road network. Government has gone on an infrastructure drive. As you know, maybe you may know or may not know, that the road from Beitbridge into Harare is I don't know whether you've driven along that road, but it's now really in tip-top condition, and there are plans to now complete that, to have Beitbridge all the way through to Chirundu, and so on. So infrastructure is very key at the moment, and development in that area. All provinces are looking at upgrading their road network. Agriculture remains a major one. I come from that sector, and I was going to show you something I will show you at the end just now, from that sector, a product that's coming out of that sector, the cotton sector. Energy and power, the UK is doing a lot of work. In fact, just this week, Colonel Katsande's counterpart with Peter Vowles was launching a solar project. So UK, well known for solar. And I think one of the areas that the diaspora can really be active in is because of your networks and contacts. I think it's time to create consortia or consortium to rope in investors who are in the UK, because you have the knowledge. You have the knowledge. And some of you are going to get to retirement. Buda wane kakambani. Kaka investor kumba, uneka 30% kako kawakabata. Ubambe lao ingcenye ye company and invest back home and have an investment. That's what we see other diasporas, because we are also studying how are other diasporas doing. Ghana has an older diaspora than Zimbabwe. And if you look at Ghanaians, the model, they will talk to their friends in the first world. Somebody's in solar, somebody's in services, business process re-engineering, create a company in the UK, invest back home, and you are a partner in the UK company that's investing back home. That would be a very clever model, and I would encourage colleagues in the diaspora to start thinking along those lines in terms of investment. Manufacturing, tourism. I won't go into this, but just show you a couple of graphs here to show you some of the statistics, to show you that others are investing in Zimbabwe. Whilst we are still thinking about it and waiting to see kuti zvichafamba sei kuzahamba njani, mana sike sibone kuti bazakwenzani. Whilst you are doing that, others are investing. We are busy at ZIDA, aslali, licensing people. I won't tell you what they look like, but I will tell you we are busy licensing people. My worry is that, I have brothers, cousins, my madam, Uma Moyo. I'm a Moyo and I married a Moyo, but Moyo ye mat north, mina Moyo ye mat south. I gosh. So we've got relatives in the diaspora. My worry is that the licenses that you are seeing there, 149 for one quarter in 2022, very few of them are Zimbabweans. That's my worry. And once we license you, we've licensed you and you are operating there. It would be good to see a few more diasporans having a cake of what's happening in Zimbabwe, having a bite into what. Let's go to the next slide. This is the projected investments. Projected. This is self-declared. I need to qualify this as a finance person. I need to qualify. This is what an investor declares when they come into the country and say, this is what I will invest. So this is self-declared. What you will see from Reserve Bank, which is our central bank, what you will see from the World Bank is inward remittances of money, only in cash. This is cash plus equipment, plus intellectual property, anything else that they want to bring into the country, they declare their projected investment. We do monitor as ZIDA. We have a monitoring and evaluation process to see, and it's getting better and better, to see that what somebody declares is actually what they bring in. We've received a lot of criticism for these figures. Moyo, your figures are outlandish. You need to be a little more reasonable about your figures. But I'll give you an example. Maninze, a couple of years ago, was in this list. Nothing is happening there. But now, I was there a few weeks ago, $1.5 billion. It jumped out from these figures, these projections. So it's a lifestyle. It's like marketing. You go in marketing, your marketing people will spend. You say, but there's nothing changing. But after a while, you start to see the value starting to come in. So we allow investors, as they come in, to declare and tell us what are they bringing in, how many people are they going to employ, and the like. And those are the figures that you are seeing there. So you can see some of the key sectors. Next slide. Just in one quarter, in terms of projected investment, that's what you will see there. Next slide. This is the UK, but so if you come in, the next slide, the UK, number of investors, I told you, you saw, if you are sharp and quick with figures, you will see that, we had about 140 something investors, but you can see from the UK, not very many, but we do have some investments. A lot of those are sitting in the energy space, that you see that big jump there from 2023, 800 million almost coming out of the UK into the energy space. Solar projects, a few solar projects. I think there's about 2 very big ones there, a couple of 100 megawatts that they're putting up. And that's what you see there. So the UK is investing into Zimbabwe. Next slide. Why invest in Zimbabwe? Some reasons. We'll share these slides, but I'll just pick a few. We have a rail network of 2,760 kilometers, which needs rehabilitation. So those that are in that space, you can take an interest. 141 locomotives available in need of repair. This is upgrade from the national railways, and they are looking at various models in which they can create partnerships. I'll talk about partnerships just now in a moment. Installed capacity in terms of generation, that's the energy sector, that's the next one. We have power needs, because with all this investment that you've heard from our distinguished provincial ministers, all of it needs money, yes, but you also need power. You need energy. Investment requires energy. And so we want to make sure that those partnerships, as ZIDA, we also continue to promote this sector. And there are very interesting developments in the energy sector, like net metering, where if you generate solar, you can actually receive money from ZIDA, which is the distributor in Zimbabwe of electricity. These are all very important, guaranteed by the Southern African power pool. So if you're worried, will I get my money out? We get all those questions. And we are looking at how do we create a secure investment from a revenue point of view, so that your investment remains in dollars. And I'll encourage you to look for land for solar farms, because development requires energy. Health, many opportunities there. 40% drop in healthcare coverage in the past 5 years, because Zimbabwe is growing. I think our statistic now, number of people under the age of 18 is over 40% or something like that. Zimbabweans are busy. We've got lots of children, lots of young children, but that puts a stress on the healthcare requirements. And so the coverage falls. That's how that coverage falls, if you wanted an explanation of how did it fall. And so we need to upgrade and up our healthcare services, so that we scratch where it itches, and our young people, our young talent is well looked after in terms of health. Lots to say there, ladies and gentlemen, colleagues. I will jump. Agriculture, this is the sector where I sit. I'm in the oil producing business, edible oils, the soya value chain, but we've got dairy value chain. We supply soya meal into that value chain. So very much annual demand of 130 million liters. I could tell you, leather, Zimbabwe uses 3 million school shoes a year. Of those 3 million, we only produce in Zimbabwe, butter mainly, 500,000. 2.5 million school shoes imported into Zimbabwe. Big opportunity. Because remember what I said, 40% is under 18. Lots of school kids. And they all need, barefoot, zvataita kumati south, skichi musi eskolo, uhamba ngorama, R2. Now that day is over. People wear school shoes, bruh. So now, it's an opportunity, because we need more school shoes. Simple, very basic. Very basic, but it's an opportunity. Business, it's not complicated. Just go to school shoes and you build that, and that becomes an opportunity. So many opportunities, ladies and gentlemen, I could share. The housing backlog, I could talk about that. Right, let's come to how to invest, the how to. I think the ministers have done, let's give them a round of applause. A fantastic job. I'm just now skimming. I have the luxury of skimming. But now I'm going to tell you how. How do you invest? How do you consummate an investment in Zimbabwe? What are my options? Okay, so there are three. Number one, general investments. That's just you. What I suggested earlier, you get together with a group of boxed up, rich people, or you've got a fund, you put money together, you create a consortium, you come to Zimbabwe, you want to do a factory, Gadzira school shoes. In which province now? Hey, all right, let me look this way. Right, you want to fix school shoes. Right, this is the opportunity. You put it together, you come. This is what we call general investment. You just come on your own as private sector, a private player. You can come, and we see a lot of those licensees that I showed you, a lot of them are in that category. Business people coming, India, China, Japan, so many source markets for FDI that come into Zimbabwe. So this is that kind, the first kind of investment. The second one is a public-private partnership, triple P. This is a contractual arrangement between the government and a private sector player. These are usually high-value projects to do with sewage management, sewage disposal. They usually involve a municipality. Municipalities are doing a lot of these triple Ps. A lot of what we see, municipalities, whether it's what you call it, parking in Bulawayo, sewage disposal in Chitungwiza, waste to energy, all those things, the big projects that need government involvement. That's the third way in which you can. As ZIDA, you will see, I'll show you earlier on, we've got all these opportunities. They're on the website. So please, no more, we don't know, because it's all on the website, and I'll show you, and you can even scan it there. These are public. There is so much to invest in. If you throw a stone in Zimbabwe, it's an investment. You will hit an investment. Everything is up for investment there, because we are behind. And His Excellency has acknowledged, Moyo, we are behind. I used to be a lobbyist before I became chairman of ZIDA. I used to lobby government. That was my job. Vakat Sunday, we worked together. We used to go to Nyanga there doing all these strategies on. And I was the private sector guy. But now the president, in his wisdom, said, Moyo, now come and help me to sort out these problems which you are raising. So, because now I discovered how tough it is. It was easier just criticizing. Getting to fix it, that's when ufunamatoda civil. So public-private partnership, special economic zones. This one's a big one. Very specific. This is to designate an area, and I think we have about 13 to 15 of these. We designate a special zone, and these are primarily for exports. We remember I said we have Africa Continental Free Trade Area. Once you've designated a zone, usually it's for exports. You're not competing with those that are local. If you're Michael Dell, or somebody knows somebody from Dell, and you assemble laptops, in a special economic zone, you can export to the rest of Africa from that zone. That's the thinking around those. So if you are a promoter, people that promote, develop special economic zones, we want to talk to you. Please get a hold of our team. Right, let me go. I need to put up pace now. Next slide. The next slide is to bust some myths here. If your experience is that to start a company in Zimbabwe is taking a long time, it's because you're talking to the wrong people. Because what's happening in Zimbabwe is that right there. We've gone from 21 days. This is to get an investment license, to get a company registered, because now all these have been automated. We're working with ZIMRA, the tax authorities, to be connected to ZIDA, so that you can get not only your company, but your tax registration as well, and start operating, which is first in class. Remember that we are business people as well. So what we are recommending, people say, Moyo, what are you telling the president? Huh? Is this, no, what we are telling is what a business person would like, to register in the shortest possible time, all of that. And government has resourced ZIDA so that we are able to do that. So down to 5 days now. If your experience is different, please get a hold of me. I'm the chairman. You can send me Nicodemously an email to say, Chairman, in India, it took a long time. If you come through ZIDA, by the way, it's not mandatory. You are not forced to come to ZIDA, especially if you are a diaspora and you know Zimbabwe, because some of you have cousins, consultants who are CAs, accountants, bankers. So you are free to do that on your own. But if you come through ZIDA, that's our service charter promise. That turnaround. Okay? It's going to cost you a little bit, and yes, colleagues, we are looking at how we can lower that. You pay $500, and by the way, you can do this all online now. You don't have to come to Zimbabwe. You don't have to, some people are saying, no, everyone is asking for money. ZIDA, we don't want, the money that we want is upfront. This one, that's all you pay. And then we do our work. Nothing else. No, this one, can you give me a little bit here? Can you give me a little? We don't allow that. That's why the president got people that are working, we are working. I've got a full-time job so that I'm not asking you for money as an investor. I'm incentivized by seeing the investment numbers go up. That's when I'm a good chairman. So corruption, zero tolerance for corruption. We want you to be licensed to invest, to show progress in these provinces and other opportunities there. License application, approval, notification, pay your license, receive a digital copy of your license, collect a hard copy at ZIDA. Our OSISC is our one-stop shop facilitation. We have 19 desks from government that are at ZIDA, so that you don't have to go to EMA, to NASA. Because what was happening was you'd come as an investor to get your NASA license. If you're putting up a factory, you'd have to go to NASA building and then go to this building, then go to immigration. So His Excellency has put together a one-stop shop. And this is an act. ZIDA is governed by an act of parliament. So, and that act of parliament prescribes that there are 19 desks there to facilitate what? Investment into Zimbabwe in the shortest time possible, so that the investor experience is remarkable and pleasant. And so that's what we are there for. And we continue. We are not there yet. I don't want to say there's no problems, it's mtserendende. No. There's still some areas because we are not fully digitized. You know, there are still areas where we are digitizing. There's a digitizing program so that everything is automatic. The issuance of NASA licenses, municipal licenses, shop licenses if you want a shop. So those we are still working with fellow or sister MDAs, ministries, departments, and agencies to make sure that we are fully digitized so that we are not fast, but then you encounter a problem down the road that slows you down. So that's still work in progress, and ZIDA is fully in charge as secretariat to the Office of the President and Cabinet. My boss, Vamanungo, was here to attend to the ease and cost of doing business. So if there are issues that you are experiencing, because there are so many sectors, colleagues, but as I said, you know, when we used to lobby against these things, we didn't understand. Some of them, you know, they need an act of parliament so that you remove them, and so on and so on. There are various steps. But if you've got an issue, whether it's healthcare, ICT, energy, we want to listen. And today, really, it was to really come and listen. Some of the pain points that especially colleagues in the diaspora are experiencing, and to make sure that we remove, reduce, minimize those experiences. I'm rounding up now. I've got a couple of scannable, and these are available also. Thank you, Wakatsande. They're also available at the embassy stand. You can scan these. This is the DIY portal. You scan, even from where you're sitting, if you can get that QR code, it'll take you to a place where you actually fill in the form to register as an inward investor into Zimbabwe, so that you get a ZIDA license. That's an investment license. that allows you then to repatriate funds, to be recognized as a legit investor, and so on. And many departments are starting to request, where is your ZIDA license? While ZIDA licensing is not mandatory, it is very convenient, because when you apply for immigration license and you've got a ZIDA license, there is that value that you get. There is that recognition that you get. So we can license online in the comfort of your home. Next one. We also have opportunities again. All mining claims, colleagues, we have created a compendium of mining opportunities in the country, and you can scan at the stand there. There's a scannable QR code, but you can find it on our website. Once you're on that DIY portal, the first scan, you can just look there. You will see mining matchmaking platform that allows you to find people in the country with a mining claim but don't have the resources, the financing to actually make their mining plans, business plans, a reality. These vary from gold to nickel to tantalum. As mentioned, we have over 72 commercially mineable minerals in Zimbabwe. Some of them are rare earth elements, because he put all these things in our great country, under our feet. So tourism, next one. Tourism, we've also got a matchmaking, the lodges. A lot of the ministers, provincial ministers mention lodges. We've also got a company. It's not all of them. It's not all of them. It's only those. It's a voluntary service that we provide to people with projects back home in tourism, lodges, hotels, that we matchmake to investors. So you can go through some of those opportunities and see. Yes. Next slide. This is it's just the investment journey. You can read this in your leisure as you drive back. Hey, people drive long distances here in London. You know, if you're in Harare, you can touch every place in 30 minutes. But here, yeah. So that's the investment journey. These are investor rights to freely repatriate their capital, profits, dividends, and interest. This is the service that we provide. You can engage directly with us without the involvement of third party. You are free to have a third party. Some people like to have somebody else. You know, it's fine. But for us, you can deal directly with us. A lot of our steps are online, so you can do it without the involvement of third parties. Save yourself some money. You get in there, you register, get a license, register a company, and get started. That's what we are about. Established companies in Zimbabwe with 100% ownership. We have some reserved sectors, but for the majority of sectors now, the Second Republic has done away with that indigenization issue. You can have 100% foreign ownership in your entity, provided that it's not in a reserve sector, and you can get on with business without having to do anything else. Access relevant information about investment regulations. You can ask our team. A lot of the information we put out there. Investment incentives. One of the ministers spoke about this. Assist land. Help to acquire land for various key projects. We're there to do that for you. If you want to learn more about general investments, next slide, you can scan. These are all available outside, so if I'm going too fast, please don't worry. You can scan them. They're available outside. This is to pique your interest on general investment. You want to find out the steps, the key processes on private-public partnerships. Next one. We've also got a scannable material there. You can scan that. What private-public partnerships are available right now? What is government looking for? There's the lady who, she's not smiling. Okay, thank you, Ambassador. This is getting serious. I'm about to round up. I'm going to round up now. Housing, real estate, housing prospectus. We've also got housing, lots of housing projects happening. A lot of diaspora funds. We've got a compendium of developments that are being done by banks, by private individuals, by consortiums back home. What we are doing as ZIDA is putting them out there for you to see, sitting outside and say, hey, I think this looks interesting. All levels. ZIDA, we serve everyone. It's not just the large companies. All the way, 100,000, you are there. So that's what we do. The DIY licensing portal, we've gone through that. There's a special one, please go through. Victoria Falls, big area. Which province again? Mat North. Big one. Victoria Falls, lots of opportunities there, working together with the Minister of State. Ladies and gentlemen, last slide. That's ZIDA. That's what we do, and we are open for business. We are the key to opening Zimbabwe for business for you. We are here to serve. We have 77 professionals drawn from the private sector to interface with you, to engage. Some of them were bankers here in London, all sorts of places. They understand the language. So please don't stay away. Come to Zimbabwe. Let's get started with some investments. Thank you.